For thousands of years, humans had a simple rule for value. If you hold a physical object, like a gold coin, you own it. You cannot spend that exact same object in two different places at once. The scarcity is built into the physics. The internet broke this rule. Digital networks operate by copying files. You can send a document to anyone, anywhere, instantly, because you are duplicating the information. This creates a critical flaw for digital money. Cryptographers call it the double spending problem. If you have one digital dollar, nothing physical prevents you from copying that file and sending it to 3 different people at the exact same time. To fix this, society relied on a central authority. We placed banks and payment companies in the middle of our transactions. They keep a master ledger. They review your account and prevent you from spending the same digital dollar twice. This means modern digital money is not secured by math. It relies on a human referee. You have to trust that the institution watching the ledger will act honestly. In 2008, that trust broke down. The central authorities managing the global ledger failed. Millions of people who saved their money and followed the rules watched their savings evaporate. Families lost their homes while the system collapsed around them. Instead of protecting individual accounts, governments used their massive resources to bail out the failing institutions that caused the crisis. The referees protected themselves. During this chaos, a pseudonym named Satoshi Nakamoto published a 9-page document. It proposed a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. The timing was intentional. The financial collapse exposed the danger of a system reliant on institutional middlemen. Satoshi built a monetary network where bailouts are mathematically impossible. The technology inside Bitcoin already existed. Cryptography and distributed networks were decades old. Satoshi simply combined these existing pieces to eliminate the referee. Instead of a single bank, Bitcoin duplicates a public ledger across thousands of independent computers. When you transfer value, you broadcast the transaction to the entire network simultaneously. You sign the request with a cryptographic private key, an unforgeable string of numbers proving ownership. The thousands of computers verify your signature against the public ledger. They reach a mathematical consensus. A corporation's permission is completely removed from the process. Removing the central authority creates an obvious target. An attacker could rewrite their personal copy of the ledger to give themselves extra money. To prevent this, the network groups all new, verified transactions together into chronological blocks. Each block contains a mathematical reference linking it directly to the block that came before it. If someone tries to alter a single historical transaction, the link breaks. The entire network instantly sees the fraud and rejects the change. Creating a valid block requires a process called proof of work. The network forces independent computers to solve difficult math puzzles to process the data. This demands enormous amounts of physical electricity. This energy requirement creates a steep cost barrier. To successfully submit a fake block, an attacker would need to control the majority of the computing power on the network. They would spend more money on electricity than they could possibly steal. This is why Bitcoin consumes so much energy. The electricity acts as an impenetrable physical wall. It secures the network without requiring a single human to trust another. When people look at Bitcoin today, they often evaluate it as a way to buy a cup of coffee. By that metric, it fails. A credit card transaction takes seconds. Bitcoin takes 10 minutes to confirm. The transaction fees fluctuate. If you make a mistake, there is no customer service hotline to reverse the charge. Add in the fact that the network requires roughly 150 terawatt hours of electricity per year to run, and the skepticism makes complete sense. If you live in a stable country with functional institutions, you probably do not need Bitcoin. Your bank works fine. Your government insures your deposits. The system protects you. Judging Bitcoin by its speed as a payment processor ignores its actual architectural purpose. Satoshi built a store of value that stays accessible even during moments of total institutional failure. The calculation shifts entirely when you look outside the stability of Western economies. Globally, 1.4 billion people live without access to a traditional bank account. Millions live under authoritarian governments that enforce strict currency controls or trigger severe hyperinflation. In places like Venezuela, Holding local currency is a direct path to losing everything. In Lebanon, the national banking system collapsed. The institutions completely broke down. For these citizens, a digital asset that cannot be seized or frozen by a government is a tool for survival. Traditional governments can print infinite amounts of fiat currency to cover their debts, diluting the savings of their citizens. Bitcoin is mathematically capped. The code enforces a hard limit of 21 million coins. No government or corporation can create more. Whether an individual uses it or not, transfer value that exists entirely outside of central bank control.